we definitely want to continue with this theme around key learnings and connecting to Indigenous learnings and perspectives along the way as we think about how we can how we're redesigning our learning experiences, what can we bring in to enrich our learning environments and our pedagogies, and knowing that the connections that you have to the education space is amazing to have the opportunity for you to share with us. So I'm going to pass it over to you, and we'll be recording this, and just so everybody knows, the webinar that Kim gave or provided is the first webinar on Indigenous perspectives of remote learning is available on our blog now. So as you're developing out your learning pathway, that's a great place to start. And then we can continue on here in terms of the 7 grandfather teachings. And next week, Kim has been kind enough to continue the learning with land-based learning, which I'm really looking forward to as well. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to you, Kim.
Okay, thanks, Martha. And just with that all being said, I'm definitely not an expert. I don't know. I just know what I know, and I'm willing to share with everybody. It's been a journey of 8 years where I've been growing and learning, and I've had some really amazing teachers along the way. And I'm continually learning like everybody. So I will share what I know with you, and as we continue to grow together, I think we'll all learn from each other. So I'm going to talk today about the 7 grandfather teachings and incorporating that into Wellness Wednesday, because as we move forward in these new times that we're in, I think it's important to stay positive and to try and connect ourselves with our families, and to make sure that we're living a balanced life. So last week I was doing another presentation, and I thought, well, I try and live by the 7 grandfather teachings. So I thought, well, we'll share this, and we'll see if we can incorporate it and share it with other people. So the first slide here is a picture of 7 generations drum, Sacagawea, and some students circled around it getting teaching. So I thought it was a powerful image to start, because we have our youth that are learning from, you can't really see the other side of the picture, but there's an elder there talking about the importance of the drum, and our youth are there at a fall harvest learning all about that. So I thought that's kind of significant for today, as we're all, learning from each other, and we are trying to learn from experts in the field. So
Kim, is this the drum that sits in Brent's office?
Not anymore, but yes, that was the drum that sat in Brent's office. It is now in our new building. We have a circle room, and Sacagawea and Gukamis is the grandmother staff. They sit in the circle room.
Wow.
And the drum is accessible to all students all the time. And it's just so that they have a connection to culture. And there's the red bag there on the red wooden staff. And that's a tobacco offering pouch. So if they wanted to come and offer tobacco to connect to creator, then they can do that at any time. So, and that, though, I mean, the drum is a massive teaching in itself. I don't have the expertise on that. Robert Horton would be our go-to for that. But yeah, I mean, very beautiful, obviously, Sacagawea. So, okay, next slide. Awesome. Oh, me. So just a little bit about me. You can follow me at Kim Kirk 20 on Twitter. And I work for 7 Generations, and I'm partnered with Fair Chance Learning here for the next little bit. And then just to tweet out anything today at FLC staff room. Okay, so like I mentioned, I'll be doing the 7 grandfather teachings and incorporating that into Wellness Wednesday. So when we think about wellness, we kind of think about, mind, body, soul. Sometimes we think about it as doing exercise or eating right. But when you think about the larger picture of wellness, it encompasses so many things in our daily life. And, as we are all living this life of social distancing, or some of us may be in quarantine, I think it's important to look at how other aspects of wellness are important for us. So, excuse me, as I was preparing this, I was thinking about some teachings that I've had. And when I first started with Seven Generations, I remember being shown the medicine wheel. Actually, there was a there was a class that was using it. They had cardboard and they were wrapping the yarn around each of the sections of the medicine wheel. But it's a really significant image because in the culture, all of the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-beings all have an equal play. So you don't spend more time working on your physical or more time working on your emotional. Each part has its own significance. So that's just the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual part of the medicine wheel. There are a lot of other teachings that go along with that, and I'll kind of get into that in the next few slides. The colors all represent things, the directions, north, south, east, west. They all have a sacred medicine that goes with them, but they're all different according to your culture and your upbringing. So the Anishinaabe, the Ojibwe, is the one that I'm most familiar with, but and that has the yellow in the east, the white in the north, but there are other cultures that have the colors in different areas, and nothing is wrong. It's just different ways of doing things. So I thought this was a good slide about how everything kind of works together. So we take those those things that we do, and everything works together. So our emotions influence our values. So if we're upset about something, it might trigger how we react to something. So just being conscious of the fact that all of those things work together to create that circle. Our physical, emotional, all of those well-being pieces work together to make us complete. And that's part of this medicine wheel that is very prominent in First Nation culture. I see it very frequently in the classrooms that I support and in the schools. It's really along with the 7 grandfather teachings, obviously, but this is something that I think it's easy for students to relate to. So I just kind of threw in a challenge here. So this is something that you could do with your students if you wanted to. So you just create the medicine wheel, and then fill in each piece with how you're meeting your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, and then see what's lacking. So you may have a piece of it, maybe it's your spiritual needs that is, not quite as full as your physical, mental, and emotional. So then how can you work towards that to find balance so that all of your pieces have an equal part? And then, as I mentioned before, this is the medicine wheel with the different pieces attached to it. So what I'm familiar with is that the east is yellow, the white is north, west black, and red. And then so tobacco is with the east. It's representing the children. And so it's all keeping everything in balance. And then each direction also has an animal that's connected to it. And the First Nation people that I work with, those are sometimes their clan animals, and they connect really closely with them. So also each one represents a season. So it's really, if you ever wanted to explore more into the medicine wheel, there is a lot of teachings within the medicine wheel, but just keeping in mind that everything is circular, everything is connected to each other, and it's all about balance.
It's so funny just looking at the east. You said that you identify yourself more on the north and east side of the medicine wheel. Did I hear that? Like the white and the yellow?
Yeah.
And it's so funny just listening to you come alive with respect to spring in the air and wanting to feel the sun on your face, the sun rising in the east. It's really cool to see how that can define who you are as a, your person. It's awesome.
Yeah, and it's true. Like that's what I'm connected most with. But and then obviously like yourself and the creator is in the middle, right? And you work at all of those things. But yeah, definitely a lot of teaching within the medicine wheel for sure.
Cool.
So I've had the opportunity to work with David Bouchard quite a few times, and this is an awesome resource. This is his book called The 7 Sacred Teachings, and he partnered with an artist from our area Christy Cameron from Atikokan, so that's about 2 hours from me. She did all of the illustrations in the book, and each picture, each of the 7 grandfather teaching relates to a picture, and then David tells a story about how it's all connected. So an amazing resource to use with your students, even to read yourself if you'd like more knowledge on the 7 sacred teachings. Again, just one resource. This is one that I've used before, and I guess just knowing David, I love his storytelling, and so yeah, this is just one that I've used before. He does also have a video on YouTube where he talks about each of the 7 sacred teachings. I think it's about 36-ish minutes, but that's something if you wanted to dive more into the 7 grandfather teachings, you could find more information there.
Thanks.
So now we're going to look at the 7 grandfather teachings. Sometimes they're called the 7 sacred teachings. Again, it just depends where you're from and what your culture refers to them as. So honesty, respect, courage, humility, wisdom, love, and truth. So when I look at connecting with the 5 First Nations schools that I work in, as soon as you walk into the school, all schools, they have the 7 grandfather teaching displayed anywhere, like somewhere prominent in the school. And usually one of the 7 teachings is a focus of the month, where they look at connecting it in their classroom. So integration of one of those 7 teachings into the classroom, and just really making the students conscious and aware of those teachings. So with that being said, I'm going to try and go through the next 7 slides and just talk about how I have integrated the 7 teachings in my life, and especially, I guess, since this, the last 3 weeks where it's been so, our learning and our work life and our home life has been so different, just how I've used these 7 teachings to keep myself grounded and to help me move forward. So this is another slide that I found online, and I felt that it really well connected the medicine wheel with the 7 sacred teachings. So again, thinking of everything in the Indigenous culture is circular, right? Everything goes in a circular motion, and then this just links all of the 7 teachings with the medicine wheel colors. And again, they can be different depending on where you grow up, what culture you like. If you're Cree versus Ojibwe, your colors might be different, but this is just an example that I found, and I thought it was a good link of the 2 of them. Okay, so we're going to talk about wisdom, and that's obviously to live with a vision. And I posted the picture of these students. They are taking part in something in our area called Quest for Knowledge, and it is unfortunately it's canceled this year, but it is a chance for the students to all get together, and they have kind of like a little competition around language speaking. So they have different challenges. They have to make dioramas. They do some speaking, some games, some activities, and it's all around elders. So we have elders running each station, and so I feel that this is a good representation of wisdom. So our students are looking towards our elders, who are our wisdom, our knowledge keepers, and they're sharing, they're learning from them. So I thought I've reached out to people that I feel are knowledge keepers, and I'm trying to connect with them and to get knowledge from them. And I feel that in this interesting time that we're in, it's important that we reach out to those people that we can, and we connect with people that are knowledge keepers, people that know possibly how to do something. Like yesterday, connecting with those with Barb and the 2 gentlemen that talked about Minecraft. Like, obviously they're a wealth of knowledge, so it's important for us to connect with them, and we need to keep doing that as we move forward. There's no point in reinventing the wheel right now. We might as well collect resources and share what we can. So
the knowledge keepers, that's such a awesome phrase. And so the knowledge keepers in your communities are often the elders, you're telling us, from the wisdom. So it's interesting because where we see elders playing a role in the public education system, right? Where I'm trying to think of the experiences my children have had, and where their elders have been invited as knowledge keepers into the classroom. I have one example where they did like a grandparent tea, and so they were able to bring the grandparents in and connect, but I wouldn't say that it's institutionalized in terms of intentionally tapping into these knowledge keepers, which it is, really, that concept is so cool because we have such a community, wealth of knowledge in the community. And so how do we bring that in and yeah, a steadying force, the wisdom to know how to get us through what's in front of us as well. I hope that we get an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and for sure. And, in the First Nation culture that I've been exposed to, elders are usually our grandparents, and they are the knowledge keepers. But I think that kind of applies, in multiple cultures, right? It's not just an Indigenous culture. Like, our grandparents are our, we always go to grandma if we want to know something, or, to ask our grandparents, even as adults, right? If you are struggling with something, usually you go to your parents first. Like, how do I deal with this? So just reaching out to those people. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to try so this is a Facebook video that Seven Gens posted about the fall harvest. And it's just, I know Titus got to come and participate in it this past year. Really a cool opportunity for sharing wisdom. So I'm going to try and get onto this if I can. Can you see this, Martha?
So we still see the slide. I'll let you know if...
Okay. Let me see if I can.
I'll try and pop it open as well.
There, did that work?
Give me, I popped it open. Yes, yeah.
Okay, so I'll just give a little bit of context. So this is at the fall harvest. So what Seven Generations does every year in October is they invite all kinds of different elders, and they share the teachings of the preparing for the fall and winter with all of the students in, I think it's grade 5 and 6, if I recall correctly. So it's just a little video to go through. Oh.
So we're having trouble hearing the sound, but we're definitely got the video.
Well, I'll just let it play and I'll post it in after. It's just a short one.
Sure.
But you can see, so they're talking about honoring.
Is that walleye they caught?
Yeah, it was. Wild rice consumption.
So we can't hear you over the video.
Okay, I'll leave it.
Awesome.
Okay, so let me just jump back to my slideshow. So basically at Fall Harvest, there's about 20 stations, and the students all circulate through the stations, and they get a chance to experience some of the teachings that the elders have to offer. And it's, sometimes the days are beautiful, sometimes they're a little bit cold, but I will post that link in the chat a little bit later, and you can watch it with the sound.
Awesome.
So then the next one is respect, and I think this one is an important one for right now. go easy on one another. So especially, living in close quarters with your family, it's important to be kind to each other, and, to take a deep breath when you feel yourself getting frustrated. And, I found that, I have a really active child, and just making sure that we get outside, when either I'm starting to feel frustrated or he's feeling cooped up, then, we just get outside, and to respect each other's opinions, because there's going to be a lot of different opinions on how, we move forward, and, what is the best practice that we're experiencing. This is sort of quite new for everybody. So I think it's just important that we remember to be respectful of each other, but, respectful and go easy on each other. Supporting each other through this is important.
Agreed.
And then the next teaching is love. So love ourselves and each other. So quite self-explanatory. This is a picture of my son and his best friend. And I had a wreath making event or whatever at my house. And all of the parents, not all the parents, all my friends, we made wreaths. And these two picked up kind of all of the, I don't want to call them scraps, but all the extra pieces that we didn't use. And they made a wreath for their teacher. So they just kind of took, what we would have just thrown out, and just made it into something amazing for their teacher. So just, thinking of other people also at this time, maybe we can help out somebody that is in quarantine and get them groceries if we're, able to, or, reach out to maybe a student that might be having a hard time. Just, thinking of others, whether it's family members, students, classroom teachers, during this time that may need that extra help.
I would say even the simplicity of those actions, like this, like just even a text, or it doesn't have to be much to make an impact at this time. I totally agree. The small actions go big, make a big impact right now.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, just even checking in on somebody, right? Saying, hey, what's up? So yeah, for sure. Okay, so to speak what we know, I know last week I talked about this eagle. I have him in here again. Just relating to that, for those of you that don't know, so I was taught when I first started at 7Gen that whenever we see an eagle, it's a sign that we're doing good things. So to speak what we know, just telling your truth, whatever that may be. And the picture beside it is at 7 Generations, some of the adult education students scraping a hide. So obviously there's an older gentleman on the left, and he's sharing his knowledge. He's speaking what he knows to the younger students that are, taking it all in. And it was, I know I talked to the teacher of these students, and they loved it. They wanted more of that hands-on, that learning where they're learning their culture and their language through doing. And yeah, so, speaking to what sharing with others what your expertise is, and it's obviously different for everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And then courage. So sometimes trying new things, and as we move into this, online learning or this new digital age, finding this new normal, it's important for us to be okay with trying things. And it's going to be new, and it could be scary for some people. Some people are ready to jump right in, and some people are a bit apprehensive, and it's okay. But just to remember to have courage to try new things. And just a couple pictures I have. So we travel back and forth from Thunder Bay to Winnipeg a lot, especially down to Minneapolis as well. And there was this one falls area that we've probably driven by, I don't know, maybe 50 times. And we were with Willem, and he's like, why don't we ever stop? Like, why do we always just drive by? And we always like kind of, you lift your head up and you try and look over the bridge at what's down there. So the one day we stopped, and just to try something new, and Willem was super excited to be there, and it was gorgeous. We probably stayed there for about a half an hour, 45 minutes, just listening to the water and the birds and kind of taking it all in. So that one stop that we had, created an extra memory for all of us. And then the next picture is students from all 5 of our schools, and they were participating in the Outside Looking In program. So these students all came to Fort Frances to learn from, you can't see the instructor, but he's there. And basically all these students learned together this dance, and then they presented at the Sony Center in Toronto in May. And so these students really took some courage to go with students from other schools, so kind of branching out of their own home circle and really trying something new, trying this dance with these people. And they met in Fort Frances, I think probably close to 10 to 15 times throughout the year to practice this dance. And then they did go and present it. And, you know, so just being okay with trying new things and encouraging, you know, our students, our teachers, even our own families, that it's okay to, you know, to try something new right now. And all of this is probably going to be quite new for everybody.
So are you telling me that I need to try the TikTok dances? Is this the message that's being delivered here this morning?
Yes, Martha, you need to. I was trying to do one with Willem the other night, and yeah, I'm terrible, but hey, I tried. So that's, right. You know, that's part of it. He was
courage, Kim.
Yeah, I told him he wasn't allowed to post it anywhere, but you know, we did it together.
Okay. Challenge accepted.
And then being thankful for what we have, and as we move forward in you know, this time, we need to sit back and reflect and be thankful for what we actually do have, right? Sometimes it's, you know, we're mad because we can't go out and see somebody, or, you know, we're not supposed to go and visit our friends, or we are not allowed in our office right now. So just being thankful for what we actually have. And the first picture is of the students at one of our schools, and the drum was present, and they were so thankful to be together. And it just, I don't know why, you can see the two students in the background, the girl in the blue hoodie and the boy in the camel hoodie, and they're talking, and they're thankful for being there. And as teachers, we're thankful to take part in their life, to be part of their educational journey. And so just remembering that. And then the next picture is my son and my dad. And I'm just thankful that, you know, that I have my family here, and that I get to go on the lake and go fishing and have fun like that. So those are those two pieces.
With the drum, like, I'm fascinated by the drum, and I remember you telling the story that when you have a conflict, like you talk about the knowledge keepers and seeking wisdom from them, but you told me the story about when somebody's in conflict and needs guidance, that they'll sit with the grandfather drum. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I can share what I've been taught. So the grandfather drum is, so they're a spirit. They are a grandfather. So anytime that you need help or guidance, you can sit with the drum. I've been taught to offer tobacco and to ask your questions and to just be present with the drum, and that will help you find peace, find guidance, and just to be there. And I think it grounds you. I know, like, Martha, I would love to have you come and listen to the drum, because that's also super powerful. When they do, like at our graduation, at 7 Gen's graduation, they have the drum there, and they play honor songs for the graduates. They play the traveling song. And I just think that, you know, being present with the drum is very powerful, but hearing the drum is also very powerful. And I have gone and sat with Sakachaway just to find my own guidance sometimes when I was struggling, and it is very powerful. And just kind of, you know, whatever that thing is, whether, you know, you go to a church or you meditate, just keeping in mind that that finding time to sit and reflect is important.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
And then in honesty, and that's, you know, like living correctly, and everybody's right and wrong is different, right? We all have different morals, we have different values, different life experiences that you know, guide us in different ways. And it's just important to keep that in mind as we move forward, that there's going to be multiple ways to accomplish the same thing, and your morals and your values will guide you in the right way. And that somebody might have different morals and values, and that's okay too. It's kind of getting back to that respect within the 7 grandfather teachings, and you know, they all tie in together, right? If you're living honestly, and then you have your respect and you have your love, and you know, it makes for a well-rounded person. And then just another challenge for you: how can you incorporate the 7 teachings into your life more than they already are? So sometimes we may have we may be using some of the 7 grandfather teachings and they just may be called something else. But how can you incorporate one of the other 7 if you aren't, and how will that change your focus? How will that change what you're doing, for sure? So that was another challenge. And then that kind of brings me to the end of my slide. Oh, I missed. Oh, I put the blog post in, but anyway, so on the Fair Chance Learning blog, there is all of the previous recorded sessions are on Fair Chance Learning's blog, and maybe somebody can post it in the chat for me, but they are there if anybody wants to revisit some of the previous sessions, or and see any to revisit any of the previous sessions, I guess. So and yeah, so that's all I really have for today. I just kind of wanted to give everybody a chance to think about the 7 teachings. They are ingrained in the students in the First Nations community, in the schools. They're very present, and that is really how our students think and live in the First Nation communities. So that's it. So thank you.
That's awesome, Kim. So how early is it? Right from the beginning that you bring the 7 grandfather teachings into the classroom experience? And is it intentional in the physical way the learning environment is set up? Where does it start, I guess?
I think that obviously it's dependent on all of the teachers. The school itself usually, like I said, has a presence with the 7 teachings. So usually when you walk in, they're right there. And then each classroom has their own, you know, they still set it up their own way. When I think about 7 generations, I know that we have a new building, and there was a lot of thought put into our new building with terms of connecting it to the culture. So we have a circle room. The light faces the east. I know in our building, the entrance is on the east for New Beginnings. So there are different ways to incorporate those 7 teachings. And I think we all live the 7 teachings already. And like I said, they're just called new things. And our teachers try and integrate them in the First Nation schools, because that's how our students live. Those are teachings that are passed down from, you know, their grandmothers and grandfathers, their parents. And so it's a good way for our teachers to connect with the students and to speak the language that they know, to talk about things that they're already learning at home and in their community.
Awesome. So cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And it'll be interesting to see how, you know, educators do intentionally bring these teachings into the classroom or into their online learning environments to make deeper connections, I guess, with their students and their community. It's pretty inspiring and grounding work, for sure, and the intention of even just like the way you walk into your building with this hope of new beginnings is amazing. I think I said amazing a bunch of times this presentation, but I truly feel that. I feel like we're on this wicked journey, and thank you for being our guide on this journey.
Yes, well, thank you. And like I said, I don't know. I'm learning every day, and I try and, you know, just share what I know, because I've been grateful enough to have people share those teachings with me. And I think that the more we can share about our Indigenous culture, the better it's going to be. And you know, I was remiss, I didn't mention that there is more information on the 7 grandfather teachings at 7gen's website. There is a bunch of information on there, as well as different culturally relevant information. More about the drum, Martha, is on there as well. So, but that's I've learned a lot in my 8 years. I'm still learning, and I'm surprised all the time when I go for my school visits about what I learn from the students and how they live these 7 grandfather teachings, how they incorporate them into their daily life.